Honestly, I would dominate awkward boners, I feel like. And I'm sure other people will come on here and say something similar.
Hey friends, welcome to episode 7 of the Burly Nathan Show. I am your host and MC, as always, Burly Nathan. I appreciate your continued patronage and listening to this show. I've gotten people who have reached out to me after every episode and told me how much they enjoyed it, what they hated about it. Well, not really. Nobody's done that yet. Give it time. I also appreciate all the great reviews that have been coming in on Spotify and Apple Music and all the great places. So continue to do that and help me make the show grow. Now today I am very excited because the guest that we have on the show, and you will hear my interview with her in just a little while, is a very good friend of mine who actually is the reason that I am in Burlesque. So we'll talk about that a little bit and how she's doing in her life. Her name is Mayven Missbehavin, and you may have heard her before on other podcasts that I've worked on. And if you're in the Burlesque community, chances are you know who Mayven is. So we're going to talk to her in a little while. Just also wanted to give a shout out to our sponsors, adamandeve.com. Once again, if you go to adamandeve.com and you use promo code BURLY, B-U-R-L-Y, at checkout, you'll get 50% off most items. You'll get 10 free gifts, free shipping, free discreet shipping. Now, Adam and Eve is the best place to go if you want to spice up your love life. I have been using Adam and Eve for a very long time. I've been a big patron of theirs, buying gifts for friends and people who I'm involved with. So once again, you go to adamandeve.com, buy whatever you want, use promo code BURLY, B-U-R-L-Y, at checkout, and you'll get, once again, 50% off most items, a bunch of free gifts, and free shipping. So if you want to support my show but also buy yourself some cool, sexy things, you can do so at adamandeve.com. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just make sure also to go in and subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts and follow The Burly Nathan Show. Right now we're on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music. I think that's the same thing. Samsung. We actually were just on Samsung podcasts somehow, some way. We got there. We're on Amazon. So if you go to your Alexa and say, Alexa, play The Burly Nathan Show, it will do that. I have to do it lightly, because every time I say that, any of my Alexa speakers know what I'm trying to say, and they'll start playing my podcast throughout the house, which is the last thing I want to do. So do that. Go follow everywhere you can. The more people who follow and listen, the more reach I get, and the bigger we can build this fun little ditty that I have called The Burly Nathan Show. And also leave a review. I would love to hear what you think about the show and who you might want to hear coming up and all that sort of stuff. And if you want to get more interactive with me and chat with me about the show and maybe give your suggestions, you can follow me everywhere. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Burly Nathan. You can see all of my upcoming shows, not only podcasts, but theatrical productions, burlesque shows, all the things that I'm involved in. And you can DM me and say, hey, I want you to bring on yada 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 person. And I will try to find yada 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 person and get them on the show. So you can go ahead and do that. So once again, the guest tonight is Mayven Missbehavin. Our guest on episode 8 is a great friend of mine. His name is Drew Street. He's hilarious. You will absolutely love that episode. He and I have worked together for years on stage and beyond, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear my interview with him. But today, here's what you're here for, besides me, obviously, is my chat with the one and only Mayven Missbehavin. Now, I teased it a little while earlier that Mayven was the reason that I got into burlesque. And it kind of is. She and I were brought together to work on a project many years ago. And after we started working on that project, we started chatting more and realizing that we had a lot in common. I had a lot of experience in the music background, music industry. She had a lot of experience in burlesque and dancing. So we decided to start working together to build now one of the most popular live band burlesque shows here in the Tampa Bay area. And we did many, many shows at a great venue in downtown St. Petersburg that is now since closed. And after that, we decided, you know what, we're just going to continue doing shows. So she and I have produced over a couple dozen burlesque shows together. And she has moved away in the recent years. And she and I still keep in great contact. We got to do a show together a few weeks ago over in Sarasota. So without further ado, I would love to introduce my great friend and my burlesque mother, as we say in this industry, the one, the only Mayven Missbehavin.
Hello. Nice to be here. Good to talk to you.
I'm so happy. I know, right? It has been a minute, and I know we both had a million things going on in our lives and lots of stuff popping up here and there. And we recently got to do the Hard Heart Burlesque show together for Valentine's Day, which was a ton of fun. And it was great to do something together again. But for those people who are listening to the show who are being exposed to the Mayven Missbehavin for the first time, let's introduce yourself. Talk a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure. I am a variety entertainer, performance artist. I also do some mentorship for artists. I also have done a lot of production over the years. What else? Lots of different things in the performance world, from acting and singing and some dance and acrobatics and hosting and all types of fun things.
So just about everything. I've literally seen you and worked on a show with you before where you stood on stage wearing a sheet and some cutout eyes and sang and as a ghost, and like I've seen you do some of the wildest things. What is like a perform, but other than maybe that one, what is a performance that you've done that's just been like batshit ridiculous? Oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing this.
I feel like I've done so many of those. I feel my my ET Burlesque act is one of those that I mention to people often if people haven't seen it or don't know who I am. I do an act as Elliot from ET, and I have my way with ET. That act is pretty ridiculous and insane and has been in a few festivals now, and it's just absolutely stupid.
I love it's stupid and it's great and it's amazing. Now, how do you come up with stuff like that? Is it just like you had a fever dream one night and boom, there it is?
You know, it's interesting because I hear a lot of people talk about this came to me in a dream, this and that. But for me, I would say, I don't know. I get inspiration from all different places, from things that I enjoy, from, things that I've watched over the years, or very rarely has it been a dream. I've had maybe show ideas that have come to me in dreams,
right?
But of act ideas. So a lot of this just comes from saying, hey, this sounds stupid, or hey, this sounds cool, or what if I did this? And then I like to run it past a bunch of people, and then whether they like it or not, I do it.
I love that. And I mean, because it's interesting, because when you do so many shows in so many different places, it's good to have like an act arsenal ready to go. And I know you have quite a few. Like, if you could put a number on how many you have that you could just be like, boom, I got this. What would that number be? Is it in the double digits, triple digits? What do you got?
I think it's definitely, realistically now, because I have got rid of or retired quite a few acts, I would say it's in the double digits instead of triple, because I have gone through, since moving, I've gone through a lot of my costumes and a lot of my acts, and sort of have been filing some away and chipping them down a bit and refining a couple of them. So I would just say double digits for sure, but way less now. So that way it's not as insane.
to keep it all together. And like editing is big, and like refining is a art form that people don't really think about very often when they say, oh, I've done this so many times, I should just keep it. Well, it's refining it, making it better, and turning it into something ridiculously amazing.
Yes, always improving acts and thinking of how to, whether it's the costuming or the concept or the music, always just elevating what you already have. I think that's great too, because stepping on stage and doing something new every time you step on stage is going to be nerve-wracking. It's going to be a little messy sometimes, but if you can do an act that you've had over and over again and really continue to elevate it and improve it, I think that's where it's at. So that's kind of what I've been trying to work on, is having less and focusing on refining them.
That is a very good point. And you actually just brought up something that I want to ask, because I know a lot of people in the entertainment business, not just burlesque and what we do, deal with that anxiety behind getting an act ready and performing in a show. Do you still get that like anxious feeling when you're preparing? Like, does it ever go away?
No, it never goes away. I think it has to do with also being a perfectionist, which I know you know about, and other people probably listening understand that it's tireless. And then also you put it on stage, and then there's anxiety about putting it on stage, or nervousness and how it's going to be received, and if everything's going to go according to plan. And then afterwards, things that you're like, oh, I should change that, or I'm going to change that. So I think it's always a continuous cycle of being anxious about producing something new for yourself, something artistic, but then also not being as hard on yourself about it. That's something that I have tried to learn to do over the years, is, be appreciative of the art that I'm creating. And I am anxious to present it always, but it's a lot of work, and also appreciating and respecting your art and putting it out there, and then just accepting how it comes out, I guess, and then going there, making changes as needed. But oh my gosh, so much so.
The anxiety is always still there. Now, what is your like measurement for the success of something that you've tried? Like, is it how much applause you got, how many tips, or is it like a combination of everything?
I think it's a combo of everything. I think it's, you know, how I felt presenting it. Did it go how my vision was, how I rehearsed it, how I planned it? Was the reaction as big as I wanted it to be? Did people understand the concept? Did they feel what I was trying to have them feel? You know, I mean, we love cash too, so obviously getting paid. Overall, that is, did the audience understand what I was trying to convey and feel what I was trying to have them feel? And did I have a good time? You know, did they have a good time? Sort of a little combo of everything.
I think we sometimes get lost in the minutia of like all the prep for it. And sometimes we forget to have fun. And I'm glad that you said that, because like having fun on stage and making the audience have fun, I think is like a majority of what should be considered successful in this business, right? Because you're wanting to separate, you know, you want to give people a great time because they may be coming after a hard day, or they may just be trying to have this escape. So making them have fun and you have fun, I think, is incredibly important.
If you're having fun on stage, even if things are not going as planned, everyone else will be having a good time. Yep. If you are struggling and you're not having a good time while you're on stage, no matter what you're doing, whether you're dancing, singing, puppets, I don't know. Whatever it is.
Yep, it happens.
Just enjoy what you're doing and the audience will enjoy it. I swear it's something to live by. And also, why not? Like, you should be enjoying yourself, having a wonderful time on stage. And if you're not, I don't know, you got to go back to the drawing board on that one.
You got to reevaluate your life.
Evaluate.
Right. Okay, so now I have some rapid fire questions about being in this business, and I probably know a lot of these answers already, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Okay. What is the most outrageous prop or weirdest prop that you have ever used in an act? A few of them come to my mind already, but I'm sure you got a few in your mind.
Oh, wow. One time I made a giant peach where the top comes off and became a hat, and I used it once, and I spent months working on it with a prop fabricator. I used it once. That was dumb. That was not a wise choice. I think in my mind, it was for James and the Giant Peach. I thought maybe I would use it again, and it was not smart. It was not properly made. If I would have remade it, maybe to be able to be stored somewhere, it was outrageous because it just didn't have longevity to it.
Sure. You could do a show in Georgia and you could pop out of a peach. I'm sure they'd love it.
Right. They would absolutely love that.
I remember that's great. That's so interesting too, to do one theme on that. I remember the one that you did with I think you had a carrot. Was that you? I think that was you when we did the downstairs shows.
I found a real giant carrot, and I used it as a prop in my act. Yes.
I think there's a photo of you like trying to bone someone while with it was outrageous, and of course for some reason that's the first thing that comes to my mind. It's a giant carrot dildo.
Stupid. Yeah, that was also hilarious. You know, I have the pink motorcycle that an aerial like type of prop that goes in the sky, and that's pretty ridiculous.
I've watched you be lowered down from the ceiling on that thing. It was amazing.
It's funny. It's a funny prop. I don't know. There's a bunch of other stuff too. I can't really I'm drawing blank. Even though
you have to go through your act database to find all of that. I'm sure people on your Instagram would find the wackiest things.
Oh, the tofurkey. I had like the tofurkey box, the giant tofurkey box, but that was more than a prop. But
sure. And that's actually another question that I had too. Like when it comes to building these costumes, have you ever had like a crazy wardrobe malfunction that you're like, you know what, I'm just going to use this and turn it into something funny?
Oh gosh, all the time. You know, when I'm doing burlesque and, you know, my bra gets caught in my hair or something happens. I have malfunctions not super often, but when they happen, they're just so funny. It's just ridiculous. So, obviously losing pasties. I've lost pasties many a time in very funny ways. Usually doing something like hula hooping or aerial. Aerial, I've lost a few pasties.
I've told that story many times of the Beatles.
that's not the only one. The very first aerial burlesque performance I ever did, I lost my pasty. And this was many years ago now. But I literally, I came down holding my boob, the same situation where I was, I don't know. You just got to super
skill.
put it on.
Right, you got to grab that super glue. The first thing in my mind is I just picture some audience member that was just looking up at you and suddenly pasty right on their forehead.
Yes.
There's another story that we have where you freaked me out. And I don't remember if you told me in advance. I can't remember if you did or not. I probably did. But during one of our shows where you had the pasty that looked like a nipple.
Yes.
And I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is actually intentional. It's a pasty that looks like a nipple, but it's not actually your nipples. That was hilarious.
Took my pasties off and underneath had another set of pasties that looked like nipples. That was very, I mean, I fooled the whole crowd.
Oh yeah. That was great.
Was speechless. The whole crowd open mouth. Loved that reaction. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I was one of those moments where I was like, you never know what the hell you're going to see in a show like that.
I love a malfunction in drag or burlesque, like intentional malfunctions. I love, wigs coming off or things like that happening. And also unintentional things or things that look like they're unintentional. I had, for one of my last shows I did last weekend, my wig was supposed to come off, but people asked me after, they go, wait, was that intentional or unintentional? Because they said, are you okay? Was that a mistake? And I was like, oh, that was...
No, it was supposed to happen.
I purposely ended my act in a wig cap. Yes, I did.
Hell yeah. When you've done burlesque as long as you have, you deserve to end in a wig cap. Who gives a fuck?
Who gives?
There it is. One of the next questions that I have for you, what is the funniest audience reaction that you have gotten, or like interesting audience reaction that you've gotten after or during a performance?
Oh, wow. Interesting audience reaction.
Because sometimes when you're catching people for like the first time, if they've never seen a show before, they don't know what to expect. Like,
I think a funny one, maybe not interesting, is when people are just outright disgusted by people taking their clothes off in a public space. I mean, it's all adults, obviously, but
right.
I think that's funny. But the look of disgust is a funny reaction to me, or an interesting reaction to have to the human body doing beautiful, sexy things. Not even ridiculous things, but beautiful and elegant things. So that's funny. The disgust. Older people that are very excited sexually. That happens.
Get the blood pumping where it hasn't pumped in a while.
Blood pumping at multiple genders. They just get super excited. That's interesting. I love that.
That's great.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, those two. I love all the emotions that audience members get from watching, circus acts, burlesque acts, whatever it happens to be. But as far as interesting goes, I think it's interesting that you can look at somebody in a beautiful costume doing elegant things, not
doing anything terribly lewd. Yeah.
Oh.
Not offensive at all.
Making the most grotesque at you. So offended.
Right. And it's like, what did they expect? I mean, they probably knew where they were going that night. I've been in shows before where like the front row just didn't quite understand what they were in for. And I'm like, oh no, you bought front row at a burlesque show, honey. This is what's happening.
You're going to see some stuff.
You're about to see some things. Oh man, yeah, no, that's great. The next question that I have is actually one that I've asked a couple other performers on the show, and people have actually written into me to say they love this question. So I had to ask this of you. If the performance industry had its own Olympics, what event would you dominate, and what would your signature move be?
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
That's a thinker. That's a thinker one.
That's a really good one. I'm not sure.
Think about it. We'll come back to it. Keep that in the back of your mind. We'll circle back. We'll circle back on the question, because like we've had people say before, like that their strength is just like manipulating people, and their task would be to just take as much money from them as they possibly can, which I know you've done. Are there any theatrical superstitions that you believe in, that you subscribe to?
Ooh, okay. So this one's not really super theatrical as it is stripper, but a long time ago, somebody said if you put your heels on like the dressing room counter or something, that I think that's what it is, because now it's stuck in my head. I think that's what somebody said to me, and it stuck with me forever since I was a baby burlesquer.
Right.
And so now every time I go to put my shoes, also you shouldn't do that because people have their makeup and stuff out, but like my instinct is to put them there with my costume, and now I just put them on the ground. I don't know.
So is that like a superstition to say, like, if you put them on the counter, you're going to do better or you're going to do worse? Like, it was supposed to make it... Oh, wow. Wow. All right. That's interesting. I've never heard of that.
Made that up, but I feel like it's almost a fever dream, but I feel like it's real because I think about it often.
Hey, I mean, those things stick with you. All right. That's interesting.
I have like rituals and things before shows. Specifically, if it's a really big theatrical show, certain things that I have to do if I'm singing or, you know, if I'm rehearsing specific things, but I don't really have any theatrical otherwise superstitions.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I know a lot of people will subscribe to like if I have to like walk around the theater 3 times and say hello to the ghost, and I have to do this and that and that and that. I mean, I don't really do much of that. My pre-shows, I warm up, and then my thing is I don't eat before shows. I get super like I will reward myself for a show well done with a slice of pizza or something afterwards, but I'm not going to eat before a show because it just gets me like, I feel trudgy and all that sort of stuff. So actually, that's actually kind of leading into like your ritual, because you said, you know, if you sing, you have to warm up. Do you have any sort of like pre-show ritual that you try to do every time?
I try to, if I'm singing, I try to get my vocal warm-ups. I try to physically warm up as well. Same thing is that I will try not to eat, but some of the stuff that I do, if I'm doing any aerial arts or things like that, I'll bring like a small protein bar or protein shake or something, because sometimes you get to the venue super duper early. So I don't want to get lightheaded or, you know, blood sugar drop too low or anything like that. So I'll always bring something, but I try not to eat a heavy meal ahead of time either. I give myself an exceptional amount of time to get ready because I don't like to rush. That's one of my biggest pet peeves in life in general, is rushing. I can't stand doing it. And sometimes, you know, you'll get called into a show or something, and so you do kind of have to rush. But for the majority, one of my ritual things is giving myself ample time to get ready for things. Yep.
You and I are very similar in that realm, and we always have been, where we're always the first ones at the venue to get ready, to feel comfortable in our space. I know we've walked through the venues we've performed in and just like to get a lay of the land, to make sure that everything looks and sounds great. I wish more people did that, truthfully. I hate when it's 5 minutes to call time and they're like, I'm 20 minutes away. And I'm like, you're not supposed to do that.
No, I can't do that. I need to be in a good space. I get kind of made fun of a bit because I'm generally the earliest of early for everything. You know, when I'm supposed to be backstage on a certain point, I'm always way earlier than I need to be because I can't do the lateness. It gives me too much anxiety, and I want to be able to walk on the stage or fly onto the stage and feel comfy and feel just relaxed, because nothing sounds or feels as good on stage if you're not relaxed.
Right. If you got that like, oh, I just had to run in and I didn't really have time to prepare and I'm kind of off my game, you need to feel in the zone. You need to get zenned out so you can do the best job you possibly can.
Exactly.
I love it. All right. This is a fun one, and I love this question too. Describe the most unexpected or random location that you've ever done a show in, whether it be burlesque or theatrical. Like, is there a venue or a place that you've done it that stuck out to you like, oh, that was weird?
Well, oh my gosh, there's been a ton of very, very strange and interesting places. I did a show in the middle of Nowhere Town, Florida, and I brought a couple of gals with me for that. And there was literally nothing besides this bar and maybe a gas station for miles and miles and miles. And it was a super religious kind of area, but it ended up being one of the best shows. They were super appreciative. They gave us a lot of cash. We were like rock stars to them because they don't get entertainment there like that often. Right. But it was an interesting, pretty big space, bar, indoor and outdoor venue, pretty massive. And there was nothing else around, but those people really appreciated it. And it's something that I've learned throughout the years. Anytime I've done a show, usually in Nowhere Town, Florida or Georgia or, surrounding or above, I should say. I've gotten ready in people have let us get ready in their trailers and to perform at these little bars in the middle of nowhere. And I really love those shows because people really appreciate, and they may be really religious, which is totally fine, mixed reactions to burlesque in particular or strange circus or sideshow, but overall they really appreciate it in those places because they don't get that often. So yeah.
It's and it's very interesting that you say that, because like when people think, oh, I just got booked at this random ass place and there's only going to be like 20 or 30 people there, I'm not going to give it my best. That's honestly the moments when you need to give it your absolute best, because you never know. There could be somebody in there who's ready to give you $300 in tips. And because, like you said, it's so novel, they don't really get that much. They maybe have been waiting for this for months. Yes. And you are that entertainment they've been waiting for, and they're about to make your day.
Exactly. I think that some of the best audiences are those audiences, because you go to the cities and you're in front of people who've maybe seen what you're doing 100 times, and they're not as appreciative, or they could be, but I feel like in those places, in those situations, you should really give it your all. And actually those gigs that I've done in the middle of nowhere, they have been so packed because they don't have, like you said, they've been waiting for this. There isn't anything else. I feel like Tennessee too was another place I did. Anyways, I just all these random middle of nowhere places that people just almost idolized the performers and were so kind and so, just so loving and appreciative of us because they don't have that. So I think, performers listening or people listening, that's it. Like, always give everything that you have, especially for whether it's 2 people or 100 people, a middle of the nowhere town or big city. Give the same energy, because you never know who's watching, and you could change somebody's life.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you and I have done those shows before where there's 5 people in the audience, but those 5 people are going to have a great damn time, and we are going to make sure that they have a great damn time no matter what. I'll tell you a little funny story. Like last night, actually, and this is something fun new with me. I'm actually going to be giving ghost tours over in Ybor City very soon. And last night I went on a little rehearsal tour, and there's only 2 people on that tour. And usually there's like 15, 20. There's only 2 people that came to the tour last night that were actually like paid guests. And the guy who runs it, Max, super cool guy, he performed it as if there were 35 people there still. And because he knows, no matter your audience size, they're here for a good time. They don't care that nobody else showed up. They're there for that experience. People loved it and ended up tipping him ridiculously last night, and as much as he would have made when there was 10 people there. So like you can't undervalue these smaller shows, because, and I've actually done big shows before where I've made less than what I would make at a small, like when we used to do at the Iberian Rooster, where we'd have, these small shows maybe with, 100, however many it could fit down there. But I remember we would always fill it up. And like those would be some of the best times ever. Those smaller little places that it's so intimate and everybody's together and just all having a great time. There's really nothing like it.
It's true. I agree.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about you now as a performer, and before we transition to some other stuff, do you have anything coming up that our audience, depending on where they potentially could be, could either see you, follow you, that sort of thing?
Oh, let's see. The next public event I believe that I have is I'm doing a birthday show for myself in Las Vegas. at a small venue, like we were just talking about.
Yep.
A venue called the Griffin, and that's happening on April 11th. And I'll be putting out information on my Instagram and Facebook within the next couple of days. So that show is my birthday, but it's also benefiting the Cupcake Girls organization. So that I have coming up. That's a public event. I'm sure there are other things, but of course I can't think of them right now.
Well, if they follow you online, they can follow you on all the platforms, and they can see everything that's going on, because I know you share that. All right, so now we're going to get into the who is Mayven questions, and I'm going to ask you some lighthearted ones. I always ask people some rapid fire lighthearted questions. They're going to be random, but they're going to be fun. Just think of the first thing that comes to your mind, even if it's ridiculous. It does not matter. We've had some people on episodes literally lie to me in their answers because they just didn't know what to say, but they're like, I just said the first thing that came to mind. So you ready for this? You ready?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Let's just try this. If you were on death row, what would be the meal of choice for you right before they press the buzzer to end you?
Thai food.
Thai, really?
Curry. Yeah.
So that's your straight up, that's like the last thing.
I've thought about this a million times, and I still am not 100% confirmed on what it would be, but yes, I'm gonna say that.
Okay, all right, that's solid. It's kind of concerning to me. You've thought about this a million times. Are you gonna be on death row anytime soon? Like, should I know?
Question.
That is true. You might as well have it in the holster, ready to go.
I think about this. Somebody asked me this literally a few fucking weeks ago at a show. People ask this shit, and I don't know, but I'm gonna say Thai food because I love curry, and I would like that if that was the case.
And you can just fart your way out. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah, nobody will care.
You just be like, done.
Fly away.
Yeah, done. So, okay, this is actually kind of an interesting one. If you could go back in time and tell your younger self a small piece of advice, what would it be? I know. In retrospect, you're like, what could I tell my old self that they would believe?
I would say watch out for narcissists, and don't be a people pleaser.
You know, it's funny. On one of our last episodes, somebody said almost the exact same thing with that question. Because I mean, sometimes we just don't know until it's too late.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, you don't know that if you grew up with a narcissist, or if you dated them or had friends that were like, you don't know until it's too late. Watch out.
Right. That's good. Okay, so the next question that I have for you is, if you could at will change into any animal at any time, what would it be?
Cat.
A cat. Okay, I can see that. I actually, on one of the last episodes, I was like, okay, if you could transform half of your body into one and half of your body into another, just be cat dog.
Cat dog.
My next question. So, what is your favorite color to, one, wear, and two, just in general?
Okay, so I would previously have said one color. I want to say I'm really vibing with red lately.
Yeah?
Yeah, red and maroon vibing. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I think that's the color of the costume you had on, and it helped for a Valentine's show because it was that crushed velvet style. Yeah,
I have a lot of red costuming, I'm realizing, and maroon. Yeah, it's a vibe.
Okay,
Feeling it.
I love it. If you could, right now or at any point in time, if money was no object, if you could travel anywhere in the world and be there tomorrow, where would it be?
Thailand.
So I sense the Thai based thing. So you're gonna go get murdered there, have dinner, and you'll be great.
It'll be great. I'm set.
Have you been? I assume then you've been to Thailand before.
I've never been to Thailand, but I'm going on some trips this year, and it's not Thailand this year, but next year that will be my trip. It's a trip that I wanted to go on for a long time. So that's
awesome.
Yeah.
I've heard, it's funny. I've actually heard from a lot of people that going to Thailand is actually like a great thing to do. And you don't have to have that much, like you won't have to spend that much money. Like your dollar goes a lot further in Thailand than it would anywhere else. Big time.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And you said that's not necessarily this year. What is a trip that you're going to be going on soon?
Soon. Let's see. I'm going on quite a few different trips. I'm going to San Francisco this weekend.
Oh, beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. I've never been there, and I've always wanted to go because I know it seems very fun and very queer and just a great place to visit.
I was there for less than 24 hours for a gig last year. So I'm going for a couple of nights, so I'll actually get to hopefully experience some of that wonderful queerness in that city.
I love it. It's hard to beat. I haven't actually, I've been meaning to visit because I've never actually been to California myself. So I need to go over there and visit because I know that there's a lot to see and do. And actually, while we're talking about traveling and obviously seeing shows, because I know we love to do that, where do you, when it comes to seeing burlesque in general, what are some cities that you've seen some great shows in? Because I know you've given me suggestions before, but where's your go-to when you're I got to go see some shows? What cities are you going to see them?
I love going to New Orleans for shows. I really, really love the shows there. They're just so, you just have to go. You just have to see them because there's a lot. I feel like there's less rules and guidelines and people are more free with their art there.
Yep.
Where else? Honestly, everywhere. I think it's
wherever you can.
Wherever you can, because everyone has different styles and different artistic expression, and every city, New York is different, Chicago, throughout California, Vegas, obviously, Florida. Florida, for sure, if you are not in Florida and you've never seen a burlesque show in Florida, definitely check out the Florida burlesque scene. Everywhere I've gone, I've loved everything that I've seen, just because I get an opportunity to see different communities and different types of people and how they choose to express themselves. So anywhere, all over.
That's great, because I know when I've gone to different cities and whatnot, myself in turn, we've asked you, hey, what should we go see? And when we went to New Orleans and New York City, you gave us some great suggestions, and those were some of the best shows we've ever seen. We went to the Slipper Room in New York City, which was so much fun. And then we went to the Always in New Orleans and saw Lola Vanilla's show, and it was just such good stuff, such great things. So another question that I have that I like to ask people, is there in your career and in your life, is there a short-term goal and a long-term goal that you're currently working on that you're hoping to achieve in the near future?
Yes, I have some short-term goals with burlesque acts that I'm working on, and that's basically just finishing them and getting them on stage. Those are some short-term, and then some long-term. I have some aspirations for some new contracts happening. So
very good.
Yeah.
We'll send out the good vibes for you on that. That's awesome. It's always good to look forward to things. So this is actually a question that I like to ask a lot of seasoned performers, because it's good to get your thought process on this and how you do it. I know in our business it's very subjective and people either love or they hate certain things that we do. As a performer, how do you handle criticism when it's either given to you from, let's just say, another performer or even an audience member alike? I asked Poppy, our Jessica, who hosts all of our shows, about what would happen if somebody came up to you and said, I didn't like that, or I hated that, or whatever. How do you handle criticism as a performer in this ever-changing industry?
I really enjoy constructive criticism. I've never really had anyone come up to me and blatantly say, you sucked, or that sucked, I hated that, ever in all the years that I've performed. And if they did think it sucked, they never told me. Which,
right.
No, if you know, it kind of, you choose how you express that you didn't like something, maybe. But I'll always ask, I like to ask people their thoughts and their opinions on certain things, especially an act that I'm developing or trying to grow with, or, you know, maybe compete with one day. I have not really competed, but I mean, you know, take it somewhere, taking it to another level. I like constructive criticism, and I just don't particularly like unwarranted criticism. I think that's a little bit, anyone listening, if you've ever done that to somebody, it's kind of disrespectful. Right. I think that people should know how your true thoughts and feelings. If they ask you, hey, what are your true thoughts and feelings? What would you say I should change? Or what would you like to see different? Mm-hmm. I think that's cool, but I think outright going up to somebody and just saying you sucked with no, you know, backup thing to that, or without somebody saying it's unwarranted sort of criticism. I've never really dealt with that particularly, at least to my face, I haven't, but I do enjoy constructive. So I'll take it to heart. Anytime an audience member has come up to me after a production, I think mostly when I'm producing, and said, hey, you know, have you ever thought about this? Or, you know, a performer has come up to me and said, hey, you know, have you ever thought about including this in your act? In a very positive, constructive way. I love that. I love community efforts to improving a show or improving an act or anything like that. So I'm open to it. I don't know how I would deal with somebody coming up to me and saying, hey, you fucking suck.
Yeah, I hate you, bitch. Get out of here.
Okay, thank you. I guess. I don't know.
That's where you just go, and you just jerk, whatever. Just, not jerk them off. I didn't mean to say it like that. Depending. I mean, you might make them feel better. Maybe they would enjoy it afterwards. I don't know.
Like that? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't like my act, wait till you find out what I can do with my hands. All right. This is for a completely different question. I know in this business and just in life in general, mental health is big, and keeping yourself, you know, calm and happy. How do you prioritize self-care and mental well-being in your daily life? What are some things that you do to keep yourself healthy in the mind?
Therapist is great.
Yeah.
Worth the money. Super helpful. I try to get enough rest, because I feel like that's very important for my mental and physical health. If you didn't know out there listening, it's good for your physical health too, if you're able to get your in. So getting a good amount of rest, hydrating my body, eating good foods, like obviously as much as I can. I try to like nourish myself, and therapist, and getting out and being outside is really good for my mental health. I like being out in the sunshine, or even just like walking and getting fresh air. Great, people, you should do it throughout your day. If you don't, I want to say meditation, but I haven't meditated in a long time, honestly. I used to, but have not. Listening to like feel good music, you know, stuff, feel good singing is good for my mental health. Obviously, like if I'm kind of in a depresso episode, I kind of don't really feel like singing as much, but if I do sing, it really uplifts my mood. Going to the gym or moving my body is really good for my mental health.
Gotcha. Those are all great things, and things that I wish people did more. And it is just a helpful thing to keep your mind occupied and keep yourself happy and healthy. So my next question that I have is, and you might have something here. What is a book, movie, piece of art, something that's had an impact on your life? Is there anything that has jumped out? A song, you know, an artist, something like that has been an inspiration to keep you, you know, that made you feel good?
Oh, I mean, definitely more on the music end of things. I think music for me has always been comforting, inspiring, feel good. So more than any movie or book or anything else, I feel like I connect most with music, and I have over the years. So that for me inspiring. Even just listening to other people, not even like a super well-known artist or anything like that. It doesn't have to be, but just listening to live music or recorded music just is inspiring. Different, I don't know. That's what I would say.
That's good. I mean, I you're very on the musical side. I mean, you're very heavily into that, and we share that in common. So that definitely makes sense. You are very similar on that. So that's good. Well, I think this has been a great opportunity for people to learn about Mayven and to know what makes you tick. And if people want to follow you and see what's going on in your life, how can they do that?
They can follow me on Instagram. I don't really post a lot on Facebook, but I'm also on Facebook, and it's under Mayven Missbehavin.
Beautiful. And if they want to tip you, how can they do that?
You can tip me on Cash App or Venmo, same thing. $@ Mayven Missbehavin.
Very good. You know, like I said, I'm glad that you had this opportunity to come on here and chat with me, and we've had quite the history, and we've done a lot of awesome things together, and I'm very happy for you. I mean, I know it was sad when you moved away and all of that happened, and you know, and I'm happy that you're living your dream and you're trying new things out, and you're getting your bearings and getting to do the things that you love to do. I mean, I just love that you continue to do that. And you know, if there's anything that you could tell our listeners, like a word of advice from somebody who's been in this business for a very long time, is there something that kind of sticks out to you that you would tell them, not only from like other performers listening, but just in general, a piece of advice or something about life coming from somebody who's been doing this for a long time?
I think that it's kind of maybe cliche for some people to hear, but it's very, very true, is that you miss all the chances that you don't take. Mm-hmm. So whether that is in your personal relationships or your work life, or if you are a performer, I think that you should absolutely go for things that you believe in and that you want to do, and just do them, even though it might be scary, or you might feel like you're not qualified, or whatever the reasoning happens to be, because I feel like you'll regret not doing it more than attempting and trying. So going after those goals that you might feel are outlandish, or doing something that might be a little bit scary, I think you should take the opportunity to do those things.
That is a good bookend to this. Mayven, I appreciate you being here. That was amazing. And anytime you have anything going on, you know, I'll always share it, and we'll get you back on here soon. So love you.
What was that question that you asked me?
Oh, that's right. We got to get back to that. So if the performance world had its own Olympics, what would be the game that you would dominate?
I feel like making people simultaneously be horny and also laugh and might be slightly scared.
So you're really good at giving awkward boners.
Honestly, I would dominate awkward boners, I feel like. And I'm sure other people come on here and say something similar.
That is going to be the highlight bit of audio from this episode, is that I'm going to make a note of that. I'm going to play it at the beginning of the show. That's amazing. You are the awkward boner gold medalist.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, Mayven. Well, thank you for being here. I love you very much, and hope everything goes great out there in the old Vegas world, and we'll chat with you again soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, there you have it. That was my interview with Mayven Missbehavin. I miss her so much. She and I had a great history together, and we still do, and I will always be a huge fan of hers and cannot wait to see what she does next. All right, well, that was the show. That was the episode 7 here of the Burly Nathan Show. Once again, be sure to follow me on all of the platforms, Instagram, TikTok, @BurlyNathan. And subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to them, whether it be on Apple Music or Spotify or Amazon Music or Samsung or Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to them. Make sure to subscribe. Helps my numbers, gets me more listeners, and yeah, I would just love to keep this podcast going. Don't forget to tune into episode 8 with my great friend Andrew Street, known as Drew Street. He's a great theater performer, actor, comedian. He's so friggin' funny, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear my interview with him. And then finally, be sure to head on over to adamandeve.com. Use promo code BURLY, B-U-R-L-Y, at checkout. You'll get 50% off most items, 10 free gifts, free shipping, all of the great things. I am so happy that they are involved in our show. It helps people have better sex lives, helps them have better romantic lives in general. So adamandeve.com, you are the real MVPs. Head there. Do not forget to use promo code BURLY, B-U-R-L-Y, at checkout, and you'll get all those awesome goodies, and you will help support my show at the same time. I know I say this at every episode. If you screenshot what you bought using the promo code, or you can just screenshot the fact that you purchased something with the promo code, and then you send it to me on Instagram at Burly Nathan. You can DM it to me, show me what you bought, and I will do a shout out to you here on the show or on my social media saying thank you so very much for supporting what I have going on. We will be announcing our 9th and 10th guests here very soon, so be sure to follow me on social media to see who those are. The 10th episode will be a very special one to me, so I hope you all will be here to listen. Once again, I am Burly Nathan. Thank you all so much. If you happen to be in the Orlando area this weekend, I will be, this weekend being March 2nd and 3rd, I will be at Epcot and Magic Kingdom in Orlando alongside Debbie Diablo for her birthday. So if you happen to be in that area and you find me on Instagram, feel free to reach out and check in. I would love to maybe meet with some folks. Once again, I'm Burly Nathan. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope to see you. Well, not really see you. I can't see you, but I hope you can hear me on the next episode. We'll see you guys later.